Watch what I got. It's fergalicious. So delicious. I don't know the words. Singing that song. It's so delicious. Tasty.
What the hell was that?
Well, hello there, and thank you for joining me for a Tears of the Kingdom ranking video. Or as someone said in another comment of mine, a Tears of the Kingdom ranking video. That joke sounds funnier written down. They're homonyms, you see, so.
I mean, have you seen that new game show, Homonym?
Your next word is meat.
Oh boy. Like when two people run into each other.
Sorry, it's the other one.
Today I'm gonna rank one of my favorite parts of Tears of the Kingdom, and Breath of the Wild, really, but Tears of the Kingdom because that's the game we're talking about. And that is cooking. I really love cooking in this game. I just think it's really cute how you can gather all these ingredients and then make a little meal. And all of the meals that the creators designed, they all look so adorable and tasty. So it only made sense for me to make a ranking list based on how delicious the food would look if actually served to me in real life. So that's what I'm making the video about.
Well, duh.
This list was created by Ollie Kokonen. I think that's how you say that. So credit where credit is due, they did all the work. I will say though that this list is only cooking pot recipes. So no baked apples or other baked items that you would just throw right onto the fire. It's cooking pot only, folks. As always, I had to change the names of the tiers because I'm obnoxious like that. So really quick, let's just go through the names of the tiers. They're pretty straightforward. I think you'll get them. Top tier, S tier, that's gonna be the Homer Simpson drool. I'm not gonna try to do it. Okay, I'll try to do it. Bacon. Oh. I didn't do it right, but that's what it was. Then one tier down is Red Robin. Yum. I don't think I've ever actually eaten at Red Robin, but their jingle is very catchy, and the word yum rang in my head when I thought of that, so. Next tier down, we have rock solid B minus work. That, you know, it's a B tier, it's a rock solid B minus work. Next tier down after that, it's a little bland. It could be better, it could be worse.
It's a little bland.
Then next down after that, we have, oh, that's nasty. And finally, the lowest tier that we have is,
my gran could do better, and she's dead.
Of course, it would be a Gordon Ramsay quote, obviously. Okay, let's get to ranking. I'm not gonna put any real thought into this. It's just gonna be quick. Just whatever my first initial impression is. So if you disagree, sorry. There's nothing I can do about it now. It's in the past at this point.
The past is the past.
So there's a lot of meals to get through. With that in mind, let's get started. First up, we have mushroom skewer. It's a little bland. Nothing wrong with a mushroom skewer. It's just, it's a little bland. It's mushrooms on a stick. You're lucky I'm not calling you nasty. Next up, we have steamed tomatoes. Steamed tomatoes, you're going right with the mushroom skewer. It's nothing personal, it's just, there's not much to you except tomatoes and steam, so again, it's a little bland. Up next, we have veggie rice balls. I think these guys are gonna go in the Red Robin Yum. They sound delicious, like veggies and rice in a little onigiri shape. Yum. Pass it over.
Hey, give me a slice.
And then, of course, we have veggie rice balls' cousin, mushroom rice balls. I'm not as big of a fan of mushrooms as I am of veggies, so we're gonna go with a rock solid B minus for the mushroom rice balls. Now, the meaty rice balls, we're going back up to Red Robin Yum on those. Those look frickin' delicious. There are definitely other recipes that look more delicious, which is why they're not going in the top tier, but these do look very yummy, and I would absolutely try them in real life. But alas, seafood rice balls. Now this is where I reveal to you all that I am deeply allergic to a lot of seafood, so I don't like it as a result. And it also just makes it really hard for me to judge it correctly. So it's not fair that I'm putting it in, oh, that's nasty, but that is where I'm putting it, and that's personal bias 100%.
And I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Okay, veggie porridge. I've actually never had porridge in real life. The closest thing I've had is oatmeal. I quite like oatmeal, but I've never had savory oatmeal, so I don't know if I would like it all that much. So I'm gonna say it's rock solid B minus work. I think it probably would go better in the bland category, but I like oatmeal, so that's getting a pass. Ooh, wheat bread. Potentially controversial, but this is going in the S tier. This is going in a Homer Simpson drool.
I love bread.
From the ages of 9 to 14, so for 5 years, I lived in Paris, France. So I have a fondness for bread, specifically French bread, and it's very hard to make, and it's very hard to get in the United States. But Tabantha wheat bread looks delicious. It looks like it would have a delicious crispy crust outside like a baguette, but that nice soft spongy inside. Oh my god, you guys. Okay, melty cheesy bread. I'm putting that in the S tier too. Look at this. Look at this dish and tell me that doesn't look delicious. That looks absolutely, completely appetizing. That looks so good. I would love to know what kind of cheese Hateno cheese is. All I know is that it's a cow milk cheese, so that doesn't really narrow it down all that much. But I am desperate to know what kind of cheese it is, because look at how melty it is. It looks so good. All right, now we have pizza. Hylian tomato pizza, but it's pizza, so it's going in the Homer Simpson drool. I don't make the rules, it's pizza.
Smile in your family's face. It's pizza night.
Meat pie. This looks really good. I think I'm gonna put this in Red Robin Yum because, I mean, it's not quite melted cheese on bread, but it looks delicious. It looks like a little delicious meat hand pie. And I don't know what this dollop of whatever is on the side. Maybe it's like mashed potatoes and carrots and peas? I don't know. It looks delicious though, and I want to eat it. Fish pie. So sorry, fish pie, but I think you're the first one that's gonna go in the my gran could do better. And that's only because the design of the pie makes it look like it would be a whole fish in there. It probably isn't, but I don't want it.
I don't want these.
Fragrant mushroom saute. Now, I think that the fragrant mushroom saute is gonna go one tier above the skewer because it has the descriptor of being fragrant, so it just sounds like there's a little more flavor to it. Ooh, cheesy tomato. Those look so good. Those look like the classiest appetizer too. Like, why is Link making this classy ass food? I'm gonna put this in Red Robin Yum. That looks delicious. That looks good, even though I think that's an olive on top of there, and I don't like olives at all. I would still eat that.
Well, that should tell you something. Cheesy
baked fish. That's going in my gran could do better. Now, that actually doesn't have much to do with my fish bias and more to do with the fact that I know for a fact that fish and cheese, for the most part, don't go together very well. I know you can put like cheese on a fish sandwich, a fried fish sandwich, but that's different. This is a whole fish that's just been skewered and then had melted cheese put on top of it. That just doesn't sound appetizing, and I think even if I liked seafood and I loved fish, I still think that would not be something I would order. You just don't see fish and cheese together like that all too often.
And for good reason.
Okay, an omelette. Now, I love omelets. I really, really do. But just a plain omelet, we're gonna go with solid B- work for that one. That's because there are other omelets in this game that are much more delicious that we're about to get into. So I need room to grow on this one. Speaking of, here's the next more delicious one. It's vegetable omelet. We're gonna put that in the Red Robin Yum category because it looks absolutely delicious. There's this red stuff on it, and I'm thinking it's ketchup. I've seen a lot of Japanese cooking videos where they make omelets and they put ketchup on it, so I'm thinking that's what it is, but I'm not entirely certain. Whatever it is, I'd be willing to try it.
Place omelette on top of rice and pour a sauce on top.
Next up, we have the mushroom omelet, which is going right up in the Red Robin Yum one too, because it looks delicious. It's got a creamy mushroom sauce looking thing and a fluffy omelet, and it comes with just a mushroom. I mean, I wouldn't eat that, but it's fancy. And finally, the last omelet on our list, cheesy omelet. You know that's going in the Homer Simpson drool. All of the things except for the bread have been cheesy. I mean, the cheesy omelet, it also comes with a side of broccoli and just 3 extra hunks of cheese, just in case it's not cheesy enough. That's amazing. And finally, I mean, how can I resist putting it in the S tier when it's an omelette du fromage?
Omelette du fromage.
Okay, hot buttered apple. Now here's where the game's visual design really screws it. This is one of the only few instances I can really think of where it actually looks like it would be less appetizing because it's just an apple covered in butter. And it doesn't look like it's been heated very well. And I don't think, like, I've had hot buttered apple kind of thing before, and it's usually cooked in like a slow cooker with cinnamon and sugar and all kinds of other delicious things in there. So to just have a hot apple with butter on top, if you really think about it like that, if you really just think about it as the picture shows it, it's just a hot apple with butter on top. So we're gonna go with, oh, that's nasty. I definitely think you would need some kind of sweetener in order to make that go any higher on the list for me. Now, honeyed fruits, on the other hand, I think I'm gonna go with, I don't know. It's a little bland. I'm not huge on honey. It's not my favorite type of flavor in the world. I do like it in certain circumstances, but I don't think I would like it just coated on top of fruit. I think that would be not appealing to me.
It's too sweet. It's making my teeth itch.
Which is why I'm also putting honeyed apple in the same category. It's just honey on top of an apple. It feels like, well, for one, it feels like it shouldn't have gone in the cooking pot. But for two, it just feels like it's not too complex in the terms of flavor. Honey candy. Honey candy is gonna be such a hard one for me because I'm gonna put it lower than I think I probably should based on the fact that it's candy. But I don't, like I said, I don't really love the taste of honey that much, so I'm gonna put it in the B- category. It's not my favorite kind of flavor, but it's still pretty good. Steamed meat. Steamed meat is so funny to me. It's just meat on a leaf. I don't know why it's so amusing to me, but you know what? It's to me it's a little bland. There seems to be no seasoning because the way you make steamed meat is you take a piece of meat, any kind of meat, and any vegetable, flour, or herb. So, you know, the fact that it seems like the vegetable, flour, or herb is more to serve the meat than to flavor it really is a knock against the steamed meat.
Needs ketchup.
Fried bananas. Now that's a delicious sounding one. It actually looks not as good in the picture as it does in real life. Fried bananas in real life really do look very delicious, but I've never had them. So I can't say for certain that I would love them or not, but you know, they're bananas, they're fried, there's sugar in there. We're going with Red Robin Yum. Egg pudding. Now, I don't know what egg pudding tastes like, but it looks like flan. And I was never a big fan of flan, but I only ever had it as a kid, so I don't know. I have to try it again as an adult, because your palate changes, and I definitely think that I would probably like it more now as an adult, but I don't really have a good relationship with flan. And I have no relationship with egg pudding. I just genuinely have no idea what it would taste like other than flan. That's my, especially with the picture, that's my reference. So, B-. That's how I feel about flan in real life. But again, I gotta try it again as an adult, now that my palate's grown up.
People change, Marge. My palate has grown more sophisticated.
Crepes. Oh god, I love crepes. But a plain crepe with nothing? Now it looks like in the picture there's a pat of butter on there, but even with butter and just a crepe with butter, nah. That's gonna go in the B-. I love crepes, but you gotta have toppings on that crepe. They're more of a vehicle than they are just by themselves delicious. Now a wild berry crepe, look at that. Not only does it sound delicious, it looks delicious. I imagine, you know, based off the pictures, that a wild berry is supposed to be kind of like a raspberry. I don't love raspberries flavors, but when I look at the crepe picture, that looks like strawberries. So I'm gonna pretend that those berries are strawberries, which is my favorite fruit. So we're gonna put that in the Homer Simpson rule. Sounds delicious, looks delicious, and you know what? Even if it was raspberry, I think it would still belong up there. I'd still give it a Homer Simpson rule. Now, honey crepe, on the other hand, that's gonna go one below because, like I said, I don't like honey that much. Nutcake. Nutcake's a tough one because I don't know what that would taste like. It would entirely depend on what kind of nut you're using. The only nuts that are available in this game are acorns and chickaloo tree nuts. I've never eaten an acorn, and I don't think chickaloo tree nuts are real, which I wish they were because that name is adorable. But I don't know what either of those would taste like. I just feel like it would be kind of bland. Even the description says it's a simple, understated sweetness, which to me sounds more like a, attempt at kindness rather than actual kindness. Fruitcake. Now, if you've ever watched certain cartoons that take place during Christmas time, they have this joke that they're very heavy, dense cakes.
Whoa! What was that?
It's a hunk of baloney, Ed. What are you?
Baloney? Please. It's the ancestral fruitcake.
Thick, sticky, and a little bit too sweet is kind of what I expect when I hear fruitcake, but I can't say that about this fruitcake. This fruitcake looks delicious. This fruitcake looks like it's light and fluffy, has a variety of delicious fruits, and some kind of probably not too sweet cream to go along with it. So I gotta put that in the Homer Simpson drool. It looks delicious. Carrot cake. I love carrot cake in real life. I think I'm gonna put carrot cake in Homer Simpson drool. Pumpkin pie. Ooh, unfortunately, I'm not that big of a fan of pumpkin pie. I like it sometimes, but not all the time. B-. I'm sorry to anyone who loves pumpkin pie.
Get her!
Cheesecake. Cheesecake's going in the top tier. I love cheesecake. I wish I could make a cheesecake that didn't crack on top, and I still have not found out how. The day will come. I'll figure it out. Steamed fish. I don't know why steamed fish is right in the middle of this category, because it's clearly we had a dessert theme going, and then suddenly steamed fish. So I don't know why that is, but we're gonna go down to mother could do better. I imagine I would only ever eat steamed fish if I was trapped on a deserted island and I needed the sustenance to survive, and even then I might die if I eat the wrong kind of fish. So,
Win some, lose some.
fruit pie! Fruit pie I'm putting right up there with fruit cake. It looks like it's the same except in pie form. And I would eat the crap out of that. So, hell yeah. Apple pie. I'm very, very particular about what kind of apple pie I like. I'm putting that in the Red Robin tier because it's not my absolute favorite dessert. However, I've had some apple pies that have blown my mind. Egg tart. I've never had an egg tart, and I had to look up what it actually was. Because it looks like creme brulee, which is something I actually have had, but it is not creme brulee. It's actually a custard-filled tart shell. So I've had custard and I've had tart shells, so I'll put those together and I'll put that in the A tier because I'm pretty sure it would be delicious.
How could it not be?
Warm milk. I've actually never had warm milk. I've only ever heard the stereotype that it would make you sleepy. I don't know if that's true. I can't imagine it would be all that good. It kind of grosses me out just thinking about it. So we're gonna put it in, oh, that's nasty. Noble Pursuit. Noble Pursuit is one of those things that I desperately wish I could try in real life. It looks absolutely delicious. It also seems like it's probably alcoholic, which sounds like a good time. In order to make a Noble Pursuit, you have to have a palm fruit, a hydromelon, a volt fruit, and rock salt. The amount of variety that could go into a Noble Pursuit and what it could taste like, it's all over the map. But I gotta be honest with you, I think they would all be good, regardless of where on the map they are. I'm gonna put that in the A tier.
It's like a hootenanny in my mouth!
Okay, monster stew. Actually, the next 5 dishes are going to be very hard for me to rate because it requires monster extract as the key ingredient. And I don't know if you know this. I'm sorry if you don't, but monster extract is not real. I know if you didn't know that, I'm so sorry to tell you that, but it is true. It's not real. And more importantly, I have no idea what it tastes like. Bingin' on Babish made ube the monster extract stand-in because of the purpleness. And if ube was monster extract, then I would absolutely place these really high because ube's good and not too overpowering of a flavor. That being said, I don't know. I can't say, oh yeah, monster extract's ube because that would be cheating. I don't know that for certain. I'm gonna put these in the bottom tier just simply because I don't know what they would taste like, and they look vaguely poisonous, except for this one. You know what? I'm gonna put monster cake and oh, that's nasty. Just because it's cake.
Cake! Everybody loves cakes.
So that's monster stew, monster soup, monster curry, and monster rice balls all in the bottom tier, and then monster cake has to be one up. just because I'm weak. Sauteed peppers. That's going in. It's a little bland. It's just peppers sauteed. So, you know, if you like that, you like that. If you don't, you don't. Again, these next 5 are going to be very difficult for me to rate because I don't know what a dark clump tastes like, except I imagine it tastes a bit like ass, I would bet.
You know when you smell something and it gets stuck in there and you can sort of taste it? Yeah, well, I'm tasting you right now and it tastes awful. Truly disgusting, like salty garbage.
I have done a bit of research on this particular topic because I was curious what other people thought dark clumps would taste like. And a lot of people have settled on it probably has black licorice flavor, which I can see. But again, I distinctly get the impression that it would taste more like ass. So again, these are all going in the bottom tier. My gran could do better and she's dead. Even the cake, although the cake does look delicious, it also looks like it would kill me if I ate it. So I'm gonna pass on that one. Here's an easy one, dubious food, bottom. Dubious food is what happens when you make food wrong.
You look like a pile of crap, ate a second pile of crap, and then crapped out a third pile of crap.
Wait. So which pile of crap do I look like?
The third one.
What? That's the worst one!
Rock hard food. Rock hard food's going in the bottom tier as well. I am not a Goron. I would not enjoy rock hard food. I think it would break my teeth, in fact. I am not Link. I cannot eat rocks. And frankly, in that scene where he's eating the rocks, he's eating them, but it does not look like he's enjoying them. Sauteed nuts. Now, I'm on the fence about sauteed nuts. They're either going to go in It's a Little Bland or Oh, That's Nasty. And the only reason I'm leaning towards Oh, That's Nasty is because I don't know if they would taste the same as roasted nuts. I feel stupid for thinking that, though. Like, they would, right? It would just be a roasted nut. I don't know. I'm going to go with my instincts and say It's a Little Bland. It's just a nut. I'm gonna put fried wild greens in the It's a Little Bland category, along with his older brother, copious fried wild greens. I don't know why they're both on there. They're basically the same thing. You make fried wild greens with just one vegetable, flower, or herb, or you make copious ones by mixing 4 of them together, like 4 different kinds. So, actually, now that I say that out loud, we're gonna move this one up, because sauteing just one vegetable is not as tasty as sauteing a bunch of them together. Yeah.
Woman's logic is flawless.
You're not using any butter or oil on either of those, so it does make it a little less appealing, you know? Vegetables are always gonna taste better with some kind of fat involved. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Also, there's no salt. You don't put any salt on those bad boys, so not a lot of flavor. Now, cook stam bulb. This would be higher if it came on bread, because then it would be, oh god, what is it called? I have to Google it now because I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Confit, garlic confit. So yeah, putting it on bread, it's basically garlic confit. And that's delicious. However, that's not the image here. Clearly, this is just a bulb of garlic that you cook. In fact, I'll read the description. It's a wild dish of a whole stam bulb roasted with its skin on. Sweet and tasty. I don't know. I'm sorry. Oh, that's nasty. I just can't imagine that would taste good. I love garlic, but I don't love it like that. And the buttered stam bulb is going right next to it because adding butter would make it a little better tasting, but again, you were just eating butter and garlic with nothing on it. Like you're not putting it on bread or in a dish. It's just you're eating the whole bulb with some butter. I'm sorry, but hard pass on that.
Hello!
Whoa!
Hi, Mrs. Crossing Guard!
Mother of mercy! Now, a meat and mushroom skewer, that's getting a little closer to a kebab that I would be down for. So I think I'm gonna put the meat and mushroom skewer a little bit higher than just the plain mushroom skewer. That's rock solid B- work. Again, it is just putting meat and mushroom on a stick and then cooking it. So it's not really 4-star cooking. And here we have copious mushroom skewers. Much like with any copious recipe on this list, you get the copious version by mixing 4 of the same type of ingredients. So in this case, mushrooms, you'd mix 4 different types of mushrooms together, and then you get copious mushroom skewers, as opposed to a regular mushroom skewer where you're only making, well, not just one, you can do 3 or fewer. So, still, I'm sorry, it's just mushrooms on a stick. It's just a little too bland for my taste. Even when you spice it up by adding different kinds of mushrooms. No. It's, no.
Just, no.
Here we have the spiced meat skewer, which I think would be pretty good, but I don't know quite what Goron spice is. I've Googled it a bit, and people tend to agree that it's red Thai curry powder, so that would be pretty delicious. But if I think of any other spices that Goron spice could be other than red curry powder, I still think it would be pretty good. Like, I can't think of a Goron spice equivalent in real life that wouldn't taste yummy, just based on the descriptions alone. That being said, I'm gonna have to put it in rock solid B- work because of the quality of the meat. You see, the next up on the list is the prime spiced meat skewer, and that's gonna have high quality meat. That's gonna have higher quality meat. So we're gonna put that in the Red Robin Yum. And I think you see where I'm going with this. The prime spiced meat skewer, this bad boy right here, he's going in the top. Because I think, you know, that would be like Wagyu beef, right? On a stick, covered in some delicious spice, cooked to perfection. If done right, that would be absolutely delicious.
Oh, sweet meat on a stick.
Crab stir fry. Now, my seafood bias is showing, but also, I'm gonna say, it's a little boring, right? It's just crab in a bowl. There's nothing else. There's a pepper for garnish, but still, the ingredients in the recipe is just any crab and Goron spice. So that's not really a stir fry, is it?
No, it is not.
I'm gonna put that in oh, that's nasty. Because you know what's mostly nasty about that? The false advertising involved. Meat and seafood fry, that's just surf and turf. And I like half of that. But you know, surf and turf is really better when it has stuff with it. I guess if you're getting a la carte, like if you're at a really fancy restaurant, you typically get your protein separate and then you get your sides and it's a la carte. So I could see that working. I don't know. It's a little bland, especially since this is the lowest quality meat we're gonna get.
There's very little meat in these gym mats.
Because the prime meat and seafood fry, now that's probably solid B- work. And gourmet meat and seafood fry, that's also going in B-. I would put it higher, but I really can't because I can't eat half of it. Salt grilled greens. These are going in B- as well, and that's because they took the fried wild greens and they added salt. So that they took my note. They needed more flavor and they gave it a little more flavor. So you move up a tier.
Good job, buddy.
Nice, nice.
Salt grilled mushrooms, on the other hand, it's a little bland. I'm sorry, mushrooms. You just don't do much for me. It's not your fault, mushrooms. It's not your fault. It's my fault. So if I don't like fish and I'm not huge on mushrooms, I think you can imagine the fish and mushroom skewers gonna go pretty low. Am I mean enough to put it in there based on bias alone? Yes, I am. I'm very shallow. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm really shallow and boring.
Okay, I just glanced ahead a little bit. I'm just gonna do a quick edit right in front of you. So I'm gonna put that together and that together because that just makes the most sense. I'm also gonna put this one next to it just because they all belong together. I don't see any off the top of my head that don't look like they belong together, but it's just gonna make things easier in the long run because they're same thing, just bigger.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, salt grilled meat. I have cooked enough meat in my lifetime to know that you need a little more than just salt in order to make that tasty. I'm gonna go with it's a little bland. And I'm gonna stick these two in it's a little bland as well. Even the most delicious steak I've ever had was cooked in a lot of butter, so I'm just thinking you probably need more than just salt in order to make that taste good. Now, salt grilled fish and salt grilled crab, on the other hand, well, that's just going in the my grand could do better category. There would be nowhere to hide the flavor. It would just be out there in the open for all to taste in its fishy glory.
Wow, that is fishy.
Ooh, an herb sauté. Now that's just any herb, flower, or vegetable and Goron spice. That sounds like it would be kind of bland, actually. just spice and vegetable. I don't know, it sounds a little bit bland to me. Fragrant mushroom saute. Sir, you have already been here. You're going right next to your brother.
But you already had your turn. It's my turn.
Pepper steak. That's a steak au poivre. Not really, because the peppers they're using are like jalapenos. They're spicy peppers, not pepper, but still. It would be a lot more appealing if it had more stuff with it. But it's just spicy pepper and meat. And sorry, peppered seafood. You can't win with me. Fragrant seafood stew. Now this does intrigue me because it actually looks pretty good despite the fact that there's a whole fish in there. It looks like it would be pretty tasty, but it also looks like it would be very fishy. And I'm sorry, I can't look past it. Oh, that's nasty. Meat skewer. I'm gonna put that in it's a little bland because they do not indicate that that meat was in any way spiced or treated with any kind of flavor. So it's a little bland. And so are the copious meat skewers. Just because there are 2 of them does not make it any more flavorful. Just because there are 4 different types of meat does not make it more flavorful.
By burning 3 different types of meat together, the Tracy Jordan meat machine takes bread out of the equation. Now your sandwich is all of the good stuff. That's delicious.
And you know what? While we're talking about skewers, I think I'm just gonna cut ahead to these fish ones. Just because we're talking about them right now. So the fish skewer, sorry, no thank you. Seafood skewer, no, sorry, no thank you. Copious fish skewer, sorry, no thank you. Done and done. I will say I've tried some seafood that I knew wouldn't kill me, and the ones that I liked more were the ones that had more than just fish on a stick or fish cooked in its own juices or whatever. Deep fried drumstick. Now that does sound delicious. Just frying anything is gonna make it taste better, but the recipe does not call for salt. And if it's not salted, which is an ingredient that's readily available in this game, it's not going to be very good. I don't know if you've ever had anything that's deep fried but not salted. It's a little bland. Just because the piece of meat is larger doesn't mean it will be less bland, because it still needs salt.
With 12 original herbs and spices.
You need more than just a cooking method. You need salt on meat. It's just necessary. Oh boy. Here's a word I can't pronounce. Hold on, let me Google it.
This may save during decor days only at HomeDepot.com.
Thanks, HomeDepot.com. Meunière. 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 Okay. Seafood meunière. Porgy meunière and salmon meunière. These are all gonna go in, oh, that's nasty. Now that's not fair, because I'm sure it's actually delicious. It is the favorite dish. Well, salmon meunière is the favorite dish of one of the bird sisters in Rito Village, Jenly, or Jean-Lee, depending on how you want to pronounce it. She loves salmon meunière. So, I know it's gotta be tasty. With her as the critic, you know it must be delicious. But I simply can't put it any higher, based purely on the fact that it probably would not be very good for me.
I guess that's fair.
Fruit and mushroom mix. Now I love fruit, but I am neither here nor there on mushrooms, and that's gonna bring it down to it's a little bland. Also, it looks like it's a plate of just raw fruit and mushrooms, so that's not all that appealing. Simmered fruit. I have no idea how simmered fruit would taste. It could be delicious or disgusting, because it really is just you throw fruit in a pot and let it cook in its own juices. So it's just a bowl full of hot fruit in its own juice. And I'm not gonna lie, that still sounds pretty good. Interestingly enough, they put copious simmered fruit first. So copious simmered fruit I'm gonna put in rock solid B- work because you have more fruit in there. It's at least 4 different types of fruit. And then regular simmered fruit, I'm just gonna put in the it's a little bland because it's really gonna depend entirely on what fruit you use.
Fruity and delicious.
Now simmered tomato, on the other hand, I'm sorry, that's gonna have to go in oh that's nasty, because without any flavoring or spices or anything, it's just hot tomato in its own juices. It's not tomato sauce, and it's not tomato soup. It is just tomato juice and tomato chunks. And that just does not sound appealing. Looks like we're into the soup section, and I gotta say, I love me some soup. And I am just now realizing, as I say this out loud, that despite the fact that we have bread in the game, we don't have sandwich options. The perfect traveling meal, and we don't have sandwich options.
What's that about?
Okay, fruity tomato stew. While the name sounds like it would be sweet, they're just calling it fruity because tomato is technically a fruit. And if I look at the ingredients, tomato, milk, and salt, that's the basic ingredients for a tomato soup. Better tomato soup will have more spices in it, but I love tomato soup. We're gonna go with Red Robin Yum. It sounds like it would be delicious. Tomato mushroom stew, I am on the fence about, because I tend to like mushrooms more when they're in things like soup or omelets. So I'm still gonna put it in B-. Tomato seafood soup. Sorry, but that's nasty. It would go lower, but I've actually tried lobster bisque before, and it's not my grand could do better. Let's just say that.
Did you have the bisque? Because I had the bisque and...
Cream of vegetable soup. Now this is a tricky one, because this is not cream of vegetable like you would get in a can. This is cream of vegetable that you make at your own house, and that is a vastly different beast, I can assure you of that, and it's much better flavor. So with that in mind, I think I'm gonna put it in B-. And veggie cream soup. Now, for some reason, that sounds better. Even though it's the same thing as cream of vegetable soup, really. It just, I don't know. Something about it, veggie cream soup sounds better. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I'm putting that in the one higher. It's so stupid. There's no distinction, but too late.
So there's nothing I can do about it now.
Cream of mushroom soup is a little bland. I've always thought that. To be fair, I've only ever really had the canned version, so the fresh version is probably a lot better, but yeah. Creamy meat soup. Now that actually does sound pretty good, and it's got a fair few number of ingredients in there. Meat, herb, salt, and milk. That seems like it would be pretty good. I'm gonna say yum to that one. But creamy seafood soup, on the other hand, nah, that's nasty. And so is snail chowder, by the way. Snails aren't even necessarily seafood, but that doesn't mean that I want them.
Hard pass.
Creamy heart soup is one that I really don't know what it would taste like, because if you look at the ingredients, it's kind of all over the map. You have hardy radish, hydromelon, volt fruit, and fresh milk. So you have milk and radish on one hand, and then you have watermelon and dragon fruit on the other. And that is just not soup in my eyes. In fact, the more I think about it, the more it's a smoothie as opposed to a soup. But since it's not called a smoothie and it's presented as a soup, I'm going to assume it's served hot. I know that not all soups are served hot, but the vast majority of them are basically a hot fruit smoothie. I don't know, that sounds nasty.
Disgusting!
Okay, glazed vegetables. Specifically, these are a honey glaze. And honey glaze is different than just straight honey. When you cook honey, it does take on a different flavor. And honey glaze is very delicious. Honey glazed veggies, though, I can't say I've ever had a honey glazed veggie. Solid B-. A honey glazed mushroom? no, that sounds kind of nasty to me. I'm sorry. I don't think I could reconcile the sweetness of honey with the earthiness of mushrooms.
Those two things don't go together.
Glazed meat. Now, it really depends on what kind of meat. Like, if you've ever had honey glazed ham, that's delicious. But they don't really specify what kind of meat. When you kill an animal, regardless of what it is, it just turns into meat. Or bird meat. So, you know, I'm gonna say that's solid B-. And glazed seafood, I think, would have enough distinct, interesting flavor that I would be more likely to put it in It's a Little Bland as opposed to That's Nasty. Curry rice. This one's annoying because the picture very clearly does not match the ingredient list at all. All you need to make curry rice is Hylian rice and Goron spice.
Hey, that rhymes.
And I have to say, that's not enough ingredients for what that picture shows. You should at least need to have, I don't know, maybe some milk or some salt, maybe? I don't know. Something is missing because there is an entire section of this meal that is just not there, right? This whole, the curry part of the curry rice. Because the definition of curry is a dish with a sauce seasoned with spices. We have the spice. Where's the sauce ingredients? This is at least rock solid B- work. I'm basing that off the picture. And vegetable curry is gonna go right next to it. Meanwhile, meat curry, that's going in the A category. That's going in yum. And so is prime meat curry. And then I'm putting gourmet curry at the very top, but I need to do that. There we go. At the very top. That's a Homer Simpson drool-worthy one, I think. I bet you a delicious gourmet meat curry is probably out of this world.
It's gotta be.
And poultry curry, I'm gonna do the same thing. Regular poultry curry and prime poultry curry, they're gonna go in there in the yum section. And then gourmet poultry curry is going in the drool section. Seafood curry though? No, that's nasty. No, you know what? It has the spice going for it. It's got the rice going for it. We'll say it's a little bland.
That's very generous of you.
Now, cheesy curry, oh, I want to put it at the top, but I actually don't know if it would be very good. I've never had curry and cheese. I don't know. Honestly, there's something about it that just is off to me, despite the fact that I think it probably could work if you use the right cheese. I don't know. Something's off about it to me. I'm just gonna put it in It's Bland, despite the fact that it probably is delicious. Carrot stew. Carrot stew is a tough one because I really like stew and soups and all of those, but I'm not a huge carrot fan, cooked carrot fan. I really like raw carrots, but I'm not a huge cooked carrot fan. I think it takes on too much sweetness when it's cooked. B-.
Could be worse.
Pumpkin stew I've never had. The only thing I can think of is it's probably too sweet, but it probably isn't too sweet. I just am imagining that. So I think I'm just gonna put it with its friend in the carrot stew in B-. That's fine. Pumpkin stew feels like it belongs there. But meat stew? Oh my god, I love meat stew. I love beef stew, but you know, meat stew it is. And since I love meat stew and I put that in the yum section, I'm also gonna put the prime meat stew in the yum section. Can you imagine where I'm gonna put the gourmet meat stew?
Wow, I did not see that coming.
Meat stuffed pumpkin, I am so curious about because based on the ingredients, it's just cooked meat stuffed inside of a cooked pumpkin, which sounds awful. I've had, you know, stuffed peppers, stuffed cabbage, all kinds of stuffed things, but typically it's not a pumpkin. I don't know. Something about a stuffed pumpkin just, it's kind of nasty to me. I don't know. Especially if we're looking at it based on ingredients alone, which is just, again, unspiced meat stuffed inside a cooked pumpkin. Vegetable risotto. Yeah, I like vegetable risotto. B-. Mushroom risotto. Now that one, I actually do like mushrooms in that case. I think they're quite good in risotto. So that one's going in yum. Salmon risotto though, sorry. I can't do it. Too fishy for me. And so is crab risotto. But cheesy risotto? Cheesy risotto is going on the top tier. That's going in the Homer Simpson drool. How could you go wrong with cheesy risotto?
You can't.
Okay, so we have, well, I do believe that this first one was supposed to be poultry pilaf, because the following two, this is prime and this is gourmet, so I do believe that this one is supposed to be the original one. So we're just gonna pretend that it is. I think it sounds pretty good. I think that would be yummy. Poultry pilaf. And prime poultry pilaf also sounds good. And gourmet poultry pilaf sounds delicious. Oh, but seafood paella. Oh boy. I'm sorry, paella. Paella, I'm sure, is absolutely delicious, but I've never had it, and also, it has 2 different types of seafood in it, so it's going in the bottom tier, despite the fact that it's probably delicious. Actually, you know what? I can't actually do that. I'm gonna have to put it in at least Oh That's Nasty, because it has more flavors working for it than just the seafood. It does have the butter and the salt and the rice, so it's not just like fish on a stick. So yeah, you'll go in Oh That's Nasty, but that still doesn't feel very fair.
It's not.
Curry pilaf. Now that could be really good, and depending on what spice it is, I think I'm just gonna say yum. That sounds good. Also looks like fried rice, so can't go wrong there. Steamed fruit. Steamed fruit is, for one, is an absolutely hilarious picture to me. Like, it's just... It's just an apple, a banana, and 3 acorns on a leaf. I don't know why that was what they came up with for steamed fruit, but I'm sorry, that sounds fucking awful. You're telling me you just put fruit in a pot and steamed it, and that's it? It's just mushy, hot fruit now? No. My gran could do better, and she's dead. No. Hard pass on the hot, mushy fruit.
That sounds gross.
I really do prefer my fruit raw, room temperature, and not cooked at all. But if I'm gonna eat cooked fruit, it's not gonna be steamed. I can tell you that. Fried egg and rice. Now, I am from the US, so I don't eat fried eggs and rice together, but I do eat them separately, and I can't imagine that they would be bad together. Like, I would be absolutely 100% willing to eat fried egg and rice together at least once, and then if I didn't like it, then I could reevaluate, but I'm gonna put it in yum. I don't know, it sounds good. Crunchy fried rice. That just sounds so delicious. That just sounds so good. I am putting that at the very top. Seafood fried rice. I'm sorry, you're gonna go with seafood paella. And a crab omelet and rice? I'm sorry, no. No crab omelet for me, thank you very much.
It's not appealing to me.
But the meat in the rice bowl, it looks so good. And I don't know what all would go in there other than meat and rice. I mean, it is just meat, rice, and salt, but I don't know. I think I am gonna put that in the B- because of how simple it is. Meat, rice, and salt. So we're gonna put that in the B- along with the prime one, but I think I'm gonna move the gourmet meat and rice bowl up one. I feel like the more tender and gourmet the meat, the more delicious it is. I'm sorry, that's just, I don't make the rules.
What? Yes, you do! You're such a liar!
Now, a cheesy meat bowl, that's just a meat and rice bowl with cheese on it, and that instantly makes it sound better. So I'm putting the cheesy meat bowl in yum, along with the prime cheesy meat bowl, and I'm putting the gourmet cheesy meat bowl in the Homer Simpson drool, because I think that sounds absolutely delicious. All right, guys, that is it. All of the cooking pot recipes ranked by how much I would like to eat them in real life. The rules shifted constantly, and I heavily allowed my personal biases to influence my choices. It was fun. I'm sure if I didn't have this allergy and I was raised eating seafood as a result, this list would look entirely different. But, you know, I was dealt the hand I was dealt, so.
What are you gonna do?
This was so fun. I actually prefer the tier lists where I don't really have a lot of time to think about it. I'm just go, because it really does let me just be completely honest in my opinions about things, despite the fact that some of them are stupid opinions. They're bad opinions. So I'll probably do at least one more, which is the most ranking videos I've ever done for one game, but it's also not surprising because just of how much I love this game. It's just not. I can't help it.
I gotta do it! I don't have a choice!
I have many opinions, and all of them are pretty much positive. So come back next time and see whatever it is I chose to rank. And until then, if you made it this far, thank you so much for joining me today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. If you liked this video, hit that like button. If you hated this video, hit that dislike button. And either way, hit subscribe. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
So come back now, you hear?